Hello, I'm Blaze and welcome back to Warframe. I was hoping to get caught up this week, but, well, with the event update being released a bit ahead of the usual time, that didn't really happen. Oh well, looks like I've got even more work to do. The Tonkor is a Grineer-themed grenade launcher modeled after the standalone M79 grenade launcher complete with a folding leaf sight. You can pick up the blueprint from the market for 30,000 credits, where the crafting afterwards will need 60,000 credits, 1,500 salvage, 200 oxium, 800 cryotic and 2 argon crystals with a mastery rank requirement of 5. You may need to do some farming for this thing, as it is one of the more expensive standalone weapons right now, though it is less expensive than weapons that need a forma to craft. But let's just be glad that it didn't require a penta to build or something somehow. Alternatively, if you want to demonstrate what makes you a good demo man right now, you can pick it up pre-built with its own weapon slot and a pre-installed catalyst for 200 platinum. When it comes to the numbers the Tonkor is packing, its ability to deal damage is split between two stages. The first stage is the projectile itself, which similarly to the Penta will deal damage on contact with an enemy consisting of 75 points of puncture-based damage. Unlike the Penta though, the Tonkor's grenades also explode on contact rather than through remote detonation, the damage of the explosion being 325, unsurprisingly consisting entirely of blast damage. This places the Tonkor as one of the weakest explosive weapons available to the Tenno in terms of base damage, but unlike other explosive weapons it also has very high critical stats, with a 35% chance and a 2.5 times multiplier, meaning it will benefit a lot from critical hit mods. Its fire rate is 2 rounds per second, but this won't matter much as it only has a 2-round capacity. And in a little bit of symmetry, it also has a 2-second reload time. The reload time isn't anything unbearable, but you'll be spending a fair amount of time sliding grenades into the breach of this thing. As a side note, the Tonkor also comes along with a 10% status chance, but that probably won't be high enough to make good use of. Also, being a heavy weapon, it draws from the sniper ammo pool, and it has a reduced capacity of reserve ammunition, sitting at 40 grenades in reserve. But considering the wide area devastation the Tonkor can dish out, and its relative ammo efficiency, if you are accurate, you typically won't have to worry about running out of explosive power anytime soon, as long as you keep an eye out for sniper ammo pickups. Not only is the Tonkor interesting with its crit-focused stats, at least for being an explosive weapon, but it also has interesting mechanics tied to it too. When aiming with the Tonkor, the estimated flight path and impact point of the grenades are both displayed for you, with a small energy-colored dot somewhere below the reticule that snaps to the terrain, and pulses of energy being sent along the estimated flight path of the grenade, assuming 100% accuracy. But of course, as the Tonkor only has an accuracy rating of 12.5, the actual path of the grenades will vary somewhat. Though the impact point and the projected path are both adjusted appropriately if you add the terminal velocity mod to increase the projectile speed, which is a big plus. The aim assist is a useful tool for long-range shots or when you're still learning how the grenades travel, but you will likely want to just get a feel for the grenade trajectory and then go with reflexive shooting from there. But wait, there's more! The thing I feel really makes the Tonkor stand out very nicely in Warframe is that you can grenade jump using it. When in close proximity to the grenades as it goes off, the Tonkor's blast will instead throw you into the air. The jump doesn't serve much purpose in Warframe, unlike older first-person shooters in the vein of Quake where this was a valuable mobility tool, but it does come with the benefit of dealing significantly less self-damage. So, instead of accidentally reducing yourself to a pile of giblets like what would usually happen if you used explosives a little bit too close to you, you'll just take minimal damage and then get thrown upwards instead. So that places the Tonkor as something you can use whenever you feel like it, instead of being relegated to specific roles like the other weapons of its type. As much as I liked the Angstrom, instantly killing yourself by clipping a rocket on some nearby geometry kind of sucks. However, there is a small problem with it. Originally I am fairly certain it was fine, but after Digital Extremes patched the Tonkor so it didn't also launch allies, the grenade jump now has a delay to it which actually feels rather unpleasant. Something like that really needs to be responsive and happen immediately, not a second after the grenade goes off. But the Tonkor hasn't run out of treats just yet. Most critical hit focused weapons have very little room for mod variation, but that actually isn't the case with the Tonkor. Thanks to its high base damage and how it handles, you actually have a decent amount of room for choice. Personally, I have left out heavy caliber and include terminal velocity to get the grenades moving faster. They're a little bit too slow for my liking by default. Terminal velocity makes them come out at a velocity I'd imagine an actual grenade would. And I include Firestorm to improve its already substantial blast radius to get the Tonkor's exploding balls to make a mess of an even wider area. That didn't quite come out right, but there are cases to be made for other mods as well. I leave out heavy caliber because the Tonkor hits hard enough to make short work of pretty much anything with just serration and split chamber, and I prefer keeping the grouping a little bit tighter, but you can add it in if you want. A decent case could be made for adding fast hands to cut down the reload time, and if you want to go full crit, having both critical delay and point strike will push the Tonkor's critical chance slightly above 100%, guaranteeing that hefty damage multiplier and giving the grenades a chance to red crit, which, for the uninitiated, means that its crits can themselves crit. As you can imagine, this results in some pretty large numbers. And of course, headshot multipliers also apply here, so regardless of whether or not you go with critical delay, aiming high will result in some really serious numbers flooding your screen. It is even able to deal with nullifiers to an extent. As with most projectile weapons, hitting the shield just makes the grenades bounce off. But if you can hit an enemy just outside the shield, its blast will kill the nullifier and anything else in there too. A+. There are some jokes to be made here about letting your Tonkor's balls explode all over other people's faces, but that isn't really my area of expertise. I prefer to get my teeth sunk into mechanics a bit more, and the Tonkor has plenty going for it. I expect I'll be coming back to this thing thanks to that. It gets the job done in brutal fashion, poses little risk to the user unlike other explosives, and has nice mechanics behind it that keep it interesting and requires some skill from the user. Especially refreshing considering that the last weapon I looked at was the fucking Axomati. Seriously, I hate those things. Though again, the timing on the grenade jump really does need fixing. But that is a minor and hopefully temporary complaint for an otherwise exceptional weapon. So, the Tonkor gets a thumbs up. I can say with confidence that it's a real blast to use. I'll show myself out. Thank you for watching my overview of the Tonkor. All comments are appreciated, and I hope to see you around next time. For more Warframe content, feel free to click the little preview windows and go and watch my videos of the Axomati or Dual Razas. And as always, good luck, have fun, and take care.